a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the restricted section where we are finally, next week, fucking done with Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is, in my personal opinion, the most god-awful part of the entire Harry Potter series. I'm super excited to have with me today my beloved co-host, Mary Clay. Say hello to the listeners, Mary Clay.
Hello to the listeners, Mary Clay.
Also with me is my good friend, Ethan, from over on Bacon and Eggs. Say hello to the listeners, Ethan.
Hello to the listeners, Mary Clay.
And also with us today is my other friend, other host of Bacon and Eggs, Tyler. Say hello to the listeners, Tyler.
Hi.
Boo.
He leaned in all chummy, like dad's about to give you some advice.
I feel like I just got introduced on a video game where they're gonna drop slime on me at the end. Not video game, like a game show.
Oh my god!
Like a game show.
That's the next.
game.
That's the next
Don't look up.
podcast is what Double Dare 3000, but it's it's only
it's
only
podcast.
audio. It's audio only. So you just hear the sound of slime hitting us.
Just imagine a green facial.
Arguably funnier.
I think
to,
Sirius
just
Black had
hear
one
it
of
and
those.
Not see it.
You hear the sound of bodies thumping against foam a lot.
Ethan, you actually were on our podcast just a couple of months ago. How have you been since then?
I've been well. This is the first time I've touched Harry Potter since then.
Good. Don't do
normally-
it. You don't need to.
Normally, every time I open any of the books, I'm like, oh, I should read these books again. And this time I was just like, nope,
No, you
I'm
shouldn't.
okay.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been well. It's great to be back here.
Yes, we're so happy to have you and to talk about film, which arguably, at least in Podland, is more your specialty.
Is it though?
Tyler, it's been about a year since you've been on the show, and I got to start by asking, is your wife pregnant?
Probably not.
Okay. As far as we know, no. So this episode should be saved. How the hell have you been?
I have my third child. He's 10 months old now. Do I hear a baby crying in the background, or is that my child?
He's
I mean, that's
It's the
not
sound
my
of
child.
me laughing.
he's less than 10 months old.
He was born in September?
August 30th.
That's
so
like September.
9
September.
months old. Anyway.
Oh, but I forget we're
9
in
months.
May. We're in May.
Do people tell you all the time, no matter what age your children are, that's such a fun age?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
But I do think that the 8 to 18 month window is extraordinarily fun because they're becoming actual people instead of tiny lumps.
Yeah, I would say all in all, I mean, Holden's great and he's super fun and his laughs are super, he's my third. Holden is great. He's 8 months old, I guess we discussed. He's super fun. I have no qualms with Holden whatsoever. I will say
he does have qualms about his other children.
No,
Roast
no.
him.
I have praises for my other children. Olivia asked me to play baseball today and put a glove on, and I was like, "Oh God, we're there!
Ooh.
It's happening!" And she's only 3.5, so
That's so fun. Man, my dad used to play catch with my brothers, and they both played a lot of baseball. And we have video evidence of me trying to get in on that, and my dad being like, "Okay, Christina," and pitching me one shitty ball, and then being like, "Okay, it's Michael's turn again." So I'm very happy to hear that you're playing catch, playing wiffle ball or whatever with your 3-year-old daughter.
Well, so what we do is the neighbor kid is I don't know, 8. And we'll all go outside, me and Olivia and him and I will throw the football back and forth, and Olivia will just kind of get in the way.
You gotta let her embrace it.
And I mean, that's all sports are, is every single sport is a variation of monkey in the middle. And so she just gets to be monkey all the time. And I think that's
that.
a dream existence. But since we've last met, I don't think I've touched Harry Potter. I did recently I have like all 7 books on my Kindle because I pirated them. And
Nice. That's the way to take in Harry Potter content.
For
I
sure.
won't tell you how we watched this movie, but let's just say that my DVDs were not working.
I watched it on HBO at 2 times speed, and I watched it.
Did
in
Tyler
Are you
freeze?
frozen?
Or is he just
No.
taking a long time to...
He's like really processing what I said.
He thinks it's that funny that he has to.
Oh, there he is.
Hello.
He's back.
Okay.
Just like Fudge says at the end of this movie, he's back.
He's back. And then Fudge, like, immediately on a dime is like, oh, dear everybody, I was wrong. I can't believe he did that. I would double down if I was Fudge. I'd be like, I got a political career to think about.
I think that's exactly what would happen if the Wizarding World were America.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dude, that's exactly what J.K. Rowling did the second someone was like, you're wrong. She was like, well, what if I was extra right?
A lot of my friends are Death Eaters. A lot of my good friends are Death Eaters.
Oh my God, stop. Stop, it's too real. Anyway, the third wedding anniversary is glass. In the contemporary, whatever, you know, it can, traditionally it was leather, but like, ew. So glass. So my husband for our third wedding anniversary bought me a new bong.
Nice.
Nice.
It is a 1-footer because I have like an 8-inch bong, which constantly gets water in your mouth. She tries really hard, but she's not good enough. And then I have like a 3-foot bong, which Haley, my friend Haley, her mouth is so small that she has to like kind of like deep throat it a little. so Sean was like, we need to get a bong Haley can use. So it's a pretty 1-footer with like, it has a shower head percolator. This is not for any of you guys, I guess. This is for the listeners. And it has like a milky periwinkle like accents, and it's like a really strong beaker bottom. Anyway, if you have any cool name ideas, let me know. One rule, they cannot be Harry Potter related. My other bong has a Harry Potter name, and I'm trying to brand my personal life away from
You
Harry
very much
Potter.
almost got Bong Weasley out of me just now.
Yeah, someone said Harry Pothead, and I was like, huh. But then the one that I'm liking most so far is Hannah Bongtana.
That's pretty good.
Here's Christina, here's what you got to do, okay? You have to search because Bong will work good enough with Borg that you just need to let the Gen Z kids tell you what they're naming their Borgs.
What's a Borg?
What the fuck is a Borg?
You guys haven't heard
I mean,
of
I know
Borgs?
Isn't it the
It's a
gallon?
Star
Fuck,
Trek
dude, you guys
thing.
haven't heard of Borgs?
It's
this
the
is the
Star
gallon.
Trek thing.
This is the
jug
blackout rage gallon.
Yeah.
The Gen Z is taking like 3/4 of a gallon of water and then putting like a 750 of vodka in it, and then like Mio, and then like Pedialyte, and just getting shit canned.
Oh,
but
that's
with
a lot
no
better than the
hangovers.
shit we were drinking in college. That's
Exactly.
not bad. They're getting really smart.
And they put it in like a water gallon, like a milk gallon, or well, probably not a milk gallon.
Ew,
but,
no.
You know, like a water gallon, and then it's a sealed system. There's a lid. They give them names like Borg Weasley, like Borg. You know,
Oh my God, the children are so funny
they're
these
so
days.
good.
They're so good.
So you just search good Borg names and then just
Okay.
swap the N and the R. That'll get
Okay.
you there 100% of the time.
Okay.
Or Borg name like whatever fandom, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, whatever thing, like professional wrestling. There's Borgs for all of them.
Those are very different things. Although I guess not, because they both have a lot of fighting in them.
I was just trying to show the range of
Yeah, from Avatar to wrestling.
Yeah.
Bong Cena.
Bong Cena's pretty
Oh,
good.
that's not bad. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
Bilbo Boggins. Sorry. Bong.
I like-
How
I like-
about Bongo Baggins?
There we go. That's better.
I
or
actually
the-
like
oh,
I
wait.
like I like
Bilbo
Bilbo
Bongins.
Bongins better,
Okay.
honestly.
Is either of these funny? Which one's funnier? Is neither one funny? A bong rog or a ball bong? No, those are
No.
not funny. Saying them out loud. Damn it. That's really close to being good,
Yeah.
though, isn't it? A lot of the same letters. Anyway, so today we're here to talk about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is a movie that came out in 2007 based on a book called Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, written by Daniel Radcliffe.
Based on is a
Written
strong
by-
term for this.
Written by Star Kid Potter.
Dumblebong.
Okay. So, Tyler, we have not had you on for Order of the Phoenix yet. So just do me a little favor and tell me, like, how do you feel about Order of the Phoenix, the book, and the movie? Like, where does it fall? How do you enjoy it? Do you not?
Order of the Phoenix, the book, I would say is the Harry Potter book I have read the fewest amount of times.
Yeah.
I find that
prohibitively
like
long.
if I'm getting into the series, it's very easy for me to read 1 through 3 and then be like, all right, I'll slog through 4. And then by the time I'm done with 4, I'm like, God, this series fucking sucks. And then at other times I'll be like, oh, I should read the series again. But I never read the last couple books. And then I'll just read 6 and 7. Because if I start 5, I'm just like, God, fuck this.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to read Harry Potter is just by skipping 5 for sure, maybe 4 as well, depending if you want the light version.
And then as far as the movie goes, I remember going to the midnight premiere of this movie with Ethan, and the end of it we watched and we were like, that was a fucking Linkin Park music video right there at the end when Voldemort's in his brain.
Oh my God, it really... that is exactly
and like Voldemort's like...
I literally watched the music video for Crawling by Linkin Park today, and you're 100% correct.
Wait, why did you watch that today?
Oh, because
I love that.
So I needed a clip of Hoobastank's The Reason for a video that I was working on, and it just autoplayed after that. And it was just like I was doing like work on my right screen, and then YouTube was muted on the left screen, and I saw it switch over, and I was like, "What in the hell?" And then I turned on the sound.
Voldemort and Harry having a mental battle?
I was like, "Oh, it's Linkin Park."
I do think just on the whole, this film, I watched it today at 2 times speed. I think I already mentioned that. This one...
I don't think you did. I
think he mentioned it while he was frozen.
This one, to me, Harry Potter has always done a really good job of like knowing exactly how serious to take itself. And this particular movie, I think, misses the mark. I think this movie jumps into, I need to take myself too seriously before it's really ready to be there. And I get that like Cedric already died and Dumbledore's army and all that bullshit, but like the prophecy doesn't make any fucking sense. And the end of this movie is supposed to be like the kids versus the Death Eaters, the adults versus the Death Eaters, Harry versus Voldemort, Dumbledore versus Voldemort. And I don't know. I feel like Dumbledore versus Voldemort is a very cool scene. I remember seeing it in the theater and being like, that was fucking awesome. But it is not as good as what I feel like I have been promised for Dumbledore versus Grindelwald. And it needs to be better than that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think you said that eloquently. I like your take. Ethan, you came on for the book, but tell us about the movie. Like, where do you stand, like, generally on this movie?
The older I get and the more times I revisit this series, in pieces or as a whole, I do think this is my favorite Harry Potter movie.
No way.
Wow, that is so wild to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it just... This is going to be a really...
face like somebody farted on her.
This is going to be a really weird way to put this, but this is the one that feels most like a movie and not part of a series to me. I don't know why. It just like, it's something about the music is a drastic change and the style is a drastic change and there's a lot of like montages.
It's a new director, right? From the previous 4?
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
This is
so
where...
the first
Oh my gosh,
3...
Christina, I'll have to dig up. I wrote an essay like my senior year about like the continuity of the Harry Potter movies and like the directors, like did having different directors hurt or help the franchise. And I wrote like it was supposed to be like 8 pages and I think it ended up being like 25 pages long. I'll have to like send it and you can add it to like the Patreon or something.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I'll tell you this as a film fan and as a fan of Star Wars, different directors exclusively helps the franchise.
Okay.
Cool.
Christopher Columbus could not have directed this movie.
I'll agree with that. The tone was appropriate for what he did the first 3, right?
First 2.
No.
Don't you dare.
First 2.
So first
Columbus
2.
did the first
Because remember,
2.
the one I can't name, the one whose name I have trouble pronouncing.
Oh yeah,
Because I can't
Alfonso
say my
Cuarón.
R's.
Yeah.
Alfonso
Cuarón.
Cuarón.
Yeah, there we go.
He did number 3 and then
Okay, yeah. David
It was like
Yates.
Mike Newell or something.
Mike
Yes.
Newell did number 4.
Did 4.
And
And
I
then
honestly,
David
And
Yates
then
done
this
everything
guy.
since.
I
You
think
guys are
the rest of
crushing
them,
it.
I think.
David Yates did the rest of them and the 3 Fantastic Beasts movies. I think they waited one movie too far to get Yates. I think he would have helped 4 if it had been part of that whole like, because I like the way they went stylistically with this one onward. It gets intense like at the
more
end.
realistic.
Like they really go for like more Twilight than not Twilight by the end of it, and it's like just super aggressive color grading but I like where it goes stylistically, and the rest of these to me feel like a series in a way that it didn't previously, or at least since 1 and 2 came out.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
I feel the same way about the
good.
books. Like you have the first 3 books that are kind of like one thing, and then the fourth
book 5
book
is like the middle child. You know what I mean?
and then
It's
5,
just
6, and 7 sort of felt like another trilogy to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're like into,
Okay.
we have the prophecy. We're about to start learning about the Horcruxes, all this stuff.
We have to fight Voldemort. We
So
have
4
to.
is the middle part.
Yeah, I mean, we at 4 is the Empire Strikes Back, and the bad guys win.
Mary Clay, what do you think about this movie? Lay it on me. We watched it together approximately 4 days ago. Is that right? Did you come to that? No, you didn't, did you? And you said it wasn't because of Tears of the Kingdom.
No, that was true. I was having dinner with my family, and by family I mean nephew. Whenever the baby is involved, we're all there.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a movie that like I would skip. It feels long. It's exactly like reading the book. Like it's just like not an enjoyable experience. Like I will say like the music in this movie, like the score is outstanding. The specific piece for Umbridge is absolutely brilliant. But like I don't like how this is kind of I don't like how David Yates handled the Harry Potter franchise, because he did the thing where he made it literally, so he was like, oh, it gets darker, so we're gonna have it be literally darker, and then it's like I can't see the fucking burrow burning, which isn't even a scene in the book. Like I have to turn all the lights off and cut my hands to the TV.
Stop.
I like
That's
don't
so
like
silly.
I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite, because I love the vibes and the aesthetic of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like 5 onward, the vibes at Hogwarts are not it. It's so despairing and depressing.
Yeah.
And like, yeah,
You
Harry's
lose so
going
much of
through
the
some
fun.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still like fun and whimsy about, because it's Hogwarts, they're at fucking magic school, and they're like, what if it was like when they go to the austere academy in a series of unfortunate events.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would definitely take Alfonso Cuarón having done 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, if he
1, 2,
if
3,
he could have
like-
finished out the whole frame, I think he would have done an outstanding job.
Yeah, but like
I think-
that
no,
was never even on the table.
Yeah, that never could have happened. But I also fear, like, as a Marvel fan, what would have happened if he did that? If you took a director with that much stylistic, like, input and had him do the rest of the series.
It is very particular, yeah.
It is very particular. And you'd also, like, I fear that you would end up with, like, a Thor Love and Thunder kind of thing, where it's like, okay, we've had enough Taika Waititi. Like, you can dial it back a little bit, buddy.
Oh, I didn't even see that one because I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
mid.
Yeah, you can skip it. Really and truly, you could skip it.
So one thing that I feel like every time I watch the Harry Potter movies, I get less forgiving about how bad all of these like child actors are. Like every interaction they have, I think still is so forced.
I don't know. I think like we've talked, I'm sure that like I've defended them every time, but I feel like they get genuinely better each film, and
they do. They're
there
not there
are, I would say that compared to other child actors who started when they were 10 and 11 years old and kept with it, I would say that like they're pretty, as far as child acting goes, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, they're not going to compare to like the like outstanding adult actors on screen.
I mean, in regards to the child acting, I think this is the best we had up to this point from child actors. I mean, I'm sure there's some niche example that proves me wrong, but you have to compare this against like Spy Kids. And
Oh my God, Spy Kids. That's organic.
But since this, we've had like Game of Thrones, which had really good child acting for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's tough to say, but I said for the most part, okay, everybody just chill.
I also just think that like the writing is just so inelegant, like like the writing just is like so absolute like bare minimum of like what exact words do we need to say to convey like the bare minimum of this story.
Yes.
I just don't think much of it has any flavor. Like it's just
in
the whole thing is
particular
tonally-
I'm thinking of like the last couple things that Harry says in the movie where like he's having the mental battle with Voldemort and he goes like, I feel sorry for you because you'll never know love or friendship. And then like the movie ends with them walking towards the carriages leaving Hogwarts, and then they go like, well, we have something Voldemort doesn't have. Something worth fighting for. Okay, Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, I thought that was such a silly freaking line. I was like, I don't know that you do. Like, he
It's
has
not
something
great.
worth fighting for. He's trying to get his life back. He's trying
like,
to.
I just want to live in peace.
I just
want to complete a fucking school year without someone dying. That's what I'm fighting for.
Right.
I want to read a math book and not be bothered.
It does like almost feel, I think, like more like a stage play sometimes, the way that like Hogwarts, they use like the set, you know, just like kind of stomping around on it. And like the way they exchange dialogue to me is very like stage play. You know what I mean? It's like just like shouting to the audience.
Yeah,
It's like, this is what's happening right now.
The weird thing about this one, I think more than any of the others, is Hogwarts is a character, but it is like a brand new character. They had to like reintroduce her. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's there and they use the room of requirement and everything, but it's like...
How did they find the room of requirement? Sorry, I'm not talking into my microphone. How did they find the room of requirement in the books? Does anyone remember?
I think Dobby tells
Harry.
them.
For when? Oh, Harry like asks him to, right? In this book. And he's like, how about the room of requirement? And then he's like, oh my God, that chamber pot story Dumbledore told me that one time, right?
Yeah.
I always thought the room of requirement was where the Mirror of Erised was, but that's not like a real thing.
I
That
think
was
that's the
just
thing your brother's made up.
I don't
Is
know.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
Listen, let me tell you,
I don't
there
know if
was
there's any
once
evidence.
upon a dream where nobody could ever ask me a Harry Potter question and I wouldn't know the answer. And now, dead ass, I'm pretty sure Harry's in Gryffindor. Like,
Who knows?
my Harry Potter
It's all made
knowledge
up
has
and the
just
points don't matter.
completely dumped out of my brain.
Just remember,
That's for
though,
the
he's
best.
not... We know for a fact he's not in Ravenclaw.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I can never remember what actually happens because I work for people that do Harry Potter theories, and I can never remember what is real and what is some bullshit that they made up.
There's a Bob's Burgers episode about that.
Non-canonical. 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 Non-canonical.
Like, legitimately, one of the videos that we did this week, or last week, was like, what if Crookshanks just killed Scabbers?
Oh yeah, but they thought he did for a hot minute.
And there's like a
But
legitimate
like, what
piece
if
of my
it? Like,
brain.
what if he followed through with
Yeah, it's
the
like
act of murdering?
It's like what would happen?
Scabbers?
What would happen in the next 5 books if
I see.
Crookshanks
Wow, it
successfully
would have been a
killed
lot.
Scabbers?
So basically, we have not to pile on to the misogyny of this series, but we have Hermione to blame for it because if she hadn't stopped Crookshanks,
Wow.
I'll tell you one thing.
he would have
this-
killed Peter Pettigrew.
This movie is the first Harry Potter story where J.K. Rowling comes out and is like, I am heterophobic. There will be no boys and girls near each other in my...
Boys and Goyles.
Boys and Goyles.
Dude, are you talking about how when Harry and Cho kiss, they're literally 5 feet apart from each
Oh
other?
my God.
Well, there's that, but there's also Dolores Umbridge being like, explicitly boys and girls have to be apart from each other.
Yeah, boys and girls are strictly prohibited from being within 5 feet of each other or whatever. And then like she walks past. It's that fantastic Professor Umbridge montage, and she's like, what? And it's so great because what's her name? Milda Staunton is so great, and
I
it's like
think she's the most on point part of this movie.
Tyler, time out real quick. Are you under the impression that the author looked at this book and was writing this book and was like, ah, yes, I am Dolores Umbridge?
I don't think that she knew, but I know who she is now.
It's like irony, yeah.
Yeah, like-
that's irony.
Oh, definitely
baby.
no, it is. But I don't think that she was sitting
She
there like,
definitely- she
this
doesn't
is the
have
character
enough
I'm introducing
self-awareness,
myself
yeah.
into. Like,
No.
yeah. Oh my God, Imelda Staunton is so good as Dolores Umbridge.
it's so
She's the
great.
only one.
She's so tiny, and it's so crazy how she almost like perfectly matches the written description of
yeah.
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
It's so
Umbridge.
It's so funny because like 2 weeks ago, I watched the 1993 movie Much Ado About Nothing, and a major plot point is Imelda Staunton getting railed on a balcony.
Yes, I remember she's in that.
She's like so young and hot. Her boobs are everywhere. It's very fun.
Boobs are everywhere in Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah, that also
And
has
Shakespeare in general.
Is that the Keanu Reeves version?
Yes, Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves.
I
It
love
has
that movie.
Denzel Washington,
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
Branagh, and what the fuck? What's the other bitch's name?
Emma
Which Emma's
Thompson,
that? Thompson,
who's also fucking in this movie. They're all fucking in this. They're not fucking
Wait,
in this
that's
movie.
why
But
we
they're in this
covered
franchise.
we covered / are covering it on the Patreon. Hold on, give me 1 second.
But you're doing Much Ado About Nothing?
Yes, we already recorded it.
Oh, why was I'm so mad about this?
It's coming
why
out
was
in
I not
July.
invited? Delete the recording.
There's too many people. It's coming out in July, so sign up for our Patreon $5 a month and up tier before July to get that bonus episode and watch the movie with all truly the glorious titties for yourself.
I will say, whoever did casting for this just whole series
Oh, brilliant.
got so many things right. And I get that, like, they wanted it to be all British, and, like, every British actor alive was like, get me in these fucking movies.
Yeah.
Somehow.
One of
And
my
so, like-
favorite things from a random like interview is Martin Freeman was talking. I think it was when he had just been like they were doing press for The Hobbit, and he was like, there was one point in time where if you were a British actor, you were either in the Lord of the Rings movies or you were in the Harry Potter movies, and then the rest of us were like Dickens orphans with our faces in the window looking in. And I just think about that all the time.
There were so many people, so many great British actors in both of those series, and such little overlap. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy. I mean, I get that they're like, I mean, they weren't filmed at the same time, but like, there's so little overlap there that I'm like, how do we still have British people that haven't been in either?
One thing that Harry Potter does have that Lord of the Rings lacks entirely is Harry Potter does have at least a few female characters. So that was like a whole other gender that they could tap into that weren't in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they had to hire more than 3 female actresses.
Yeah. And Liv Tyler's an American.
The Harry Potter books truly hate women so much, but the movies somehow like managed to do it more, I think, by like further just flattening their characters into just like the most basic of archetypes, you know?
I would argue that the majority of movies do that when they're adapted from books.
I know, it's just such it's
just what
very
happens. Like
unfortunate.
characters when they're being translated to this 1.5 hour. Why did I say 1.5 hour? No movies are ever fucking 1.5 hours
2
long.
hours.
Nothing that's
Except you know what
adapted to a
is
book.
1.5 hours long.
Yeah,
Cocaine Bear.
I guess that just goes back to my overall theory that it's irresponsible to adapt fantasy novels into movies instead of TV series.
Oh,
because
100%,
You
yeah.
just don't have enough time.
Okay.
You just
That
don't have enough time
being
to do it
said,
right.
this does not need to be a TV series. Looking at you, HBO.
Yeah,
we
that's
have
a
a petition.
great- that's
It's
a
in the
great
description. Go sign it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me about that. You're completely right.
I'll say this. I mean, I don't know what the TV show is going to be. I will probably have kids who want to watch it by the time it comes out, so I'll have to deal with that. You weren't going to convince Warner Brothers in 1999, who could barely keep Pokemon on the air on WB Kids, to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a Harry Potter TV show.
No, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from the mistakes. And now things are getting TV shows, you know? Every fantasy book has a TV show.
Wheel of Time does.
It's just
and
like
it
a
sucks.
couple decades too late or
Yeah.
too early, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely not really interested in this TV show, but some other really excellent TV adaptations of books are like the His Dark Materials I quite like as a TV adaptation.
Yeah, I've heard that one's good.
Can't think of another example right now, but there's good one. I mean, obviously Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is
that's
good
the
when
only
it's
way to encompass
adapting
that.
the books.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly right. Game of Thrones was good
That's
when it was
exactly
adapting the books. Yeah, 100% true. They got a few things right after that, but it really did tail off.
Yeah, the quality does tend to ebb out at the
Rings
end.
of Power is a series.
That it is a series. There's no denying that.
They made
It's
it.
got characters and things that happen in it. Not a single. There's nobody that I've talked to, because I haven't talked to Mary Clay about it specifically, but nobody I've been able to talk to has told me a damn thing that it's about. but I'm like,
It's about
hard to get a finger on it.
I'm like, so what is it
having
about?
a
And they're
vendetta
like-
and wanting to take down Sauron, and she gets distracted along the way.
basically everybody at work watched it except for me, and they were all just like, yeah, it was an episode.
I would say compared to like a lot of television, I think it was like comparable. I don't know, like it wasn't like blowing my mind, the best thing I've ever watched, but like I think if you're a Lord of the Rings
Harry
fan in
Potter
general,
and the Order of
you
the
might like
Phoenix
it.
Yeah.
movie. I'm taking this conversation and putting it back on the rails.
Please do.
What do you guys think? Sirius Black dies in this movie. What do you guys think about Sirius
I'm leaving.
Black, as well as Gary Oldman's
Why did you-
depiction of Sirius Black?
I'll be honest with you, the only moment while I was watching this movie at 2x speed that I felt anything at all was when Sirius Black died. And I was like, oh God, this hurts. He says, good one, James, and then he gets killed. And I was like,
Yeah,
It's awful.
it's
It's extraordinarily gutting.
It's awful. And then do y'all know I don't know if this is actually true or if this is just like one of those quote unquote fun facts that like went wild on the internet, but supposedly the scream that Daniel Radcliffe let out in that scene was so gut-wrenching that the editors and director decided to remove the sound from that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it because Daniel Radcliffe is good at kind of losing his shit a little bit. I kind of in some ways think he's the next Nick Cage, but I
You're
don't
not
know.
wrong.
I don't know if that's like the reason that the directors like cut it. I feel like maybe they were like, okay, so maybe like without the scream, and then they were like, that's gutting.
It's haunting because it's like everything to Harry, everything else faded away and nothing else mattered. It's so Okay, so the moment, just like in Prisoner of Azkaban, when Sirius and Harry are having the nice little conversation, they've left the Whomping Willow, they're both looking up at Hogwarts together, and Sirius is like, do you want to come live with me? And I end the movie there. I end this movie when they're in the like tapestry family tree room, and he goes to leave, and then they do like a really nice hug, and that's where I end it.
I will
funny.
say, I mean, Gary Oldman and David Thewlis are like crazy good actors, and one of the things I do like about this movie is that we do get a couple more of the grown-up scenes where they're just like acting the shit out of stuff. This movie does have my least favorite thing in all of Potter in it. Potter.
What's wrong with you?
Potter.
It's Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry
Which
Potter.
is Marauders content, like young Marauders content. I hate that. It makes me want to vomit in my boots.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Oh, so you guys don't like to have fun?
Literally the only...
Sometimes we just like to
Sometimes
hear,
we like to have fun. Literally
we like
the
to
only
have
thing
imagination
we learn,
about characters before they're dead.
the only fucking thing we learn about James Potter is that he is literally a bully.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like none of
he
this
has
feels
growth.
rewarding.
He has
Right.
growth.
Does
He
he?
was also a
What
teenager.
evidence
He
is
has
there that
growth.
he has
What the
growth?
fuck growth are you talking about? He grows up.
where did
I
Has
don't
he
remember
grow?
exactly, but
He has an infant child and dies. There is no growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
says the
it's
guy with
it's like-
3 infants.
It's like a very short amount of time. Like
He
didn't
dies when
have
he's like
time for growth.
21. Like,
I think there's
this James Potter.
We can
James
get
Potter
into
would
this kind of
go-
a conversation later.
If James Potter had grown up into a man, he would have gone out and like cheated on his wife and had like
No!
a whole
Oh my
I
God!
swear to God, he would have like. I think James Potter would have
I
had to have like
hate
a come to
this.
Jesus moment.
I'm
to
literally
get, to, like,
leaving.
get his act together. No, I don't trust that man.
Harry
one bit.
didn't just bully Snape, right? Like Snape wasn't in their friend group.
About something else.
Harry also bullied Wormtail, who's in his friend group.
James,
Yeah.
not Harry.
James,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Nice one, James.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, and then Lupin comes and gives him a hug. Lupin, one of the greatest characters in this whole freaking franchise.
Yeah, I think that he's well represented in the films by what's that guy's name? David Thewlis.
Thewlis, yeah.
Thewlis. I do. There's like a bit. He has that whole like arc. I think in the latter couple books that I don't think he gets in the movies, where he's like trying to abandon his child.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, that's not ideal. I think they just kind of like glide over that in the movies, but I think it's important to his character.
The thing about that, I think, is that like the book Lupin and the movie Lupin for much of it were happening at the same time, right? Like she was writing 6 and 7 after David Thewlis had already like happened to Lupin. So like you can't make that guy do the things that Lupin does in the book. Like
Lupin in the book was a cooler looking dude.
At some point they become completely separate characters, basically.
Yeah.
And I think
Took his own path.
that Lupin is much helped by the performance of David Thewlis in the movies, in the same way that like Sirius Black the character is never quite good enough for Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, dude, when he gets on
think
screen,
the writing of Sirius for the movies is good enough for. I think there was a lot of. I think there are a lot of like fun, interesting elements to Sirius in the books that, like plot reasonings and structure and stuff, and just kind of like writing in general. I feel like they didn't write him the same way.
well, and
Yeah, he's not as vibrant of a character at all.
I think
Yes,
what
yeah.
happened is the showrunners at Warner Brothers were like, okay, Chris Columbus did a really good job getting the kids to act, and like he was really good literally with the children and like being involved in that. And then Alfonso Cuarón showed up, and if you like listen to the script of the third movie, it is like the most basic sentences ever. And he's like, I'm just going to tell the story with the camera, and we'll fix everything else later. Like, I don't
12
need...
years of it.
Yeah.
And Azkaban.
I mean, that scene obviously is fantastic,
My audio.
and that has decent writing in it. But the rest of the movie, like anytime the kids are talking, he's just telling the story with the camera. He doesn't give
He
a
was
shit.
their friend. I'm just going to yell
Interesting.
quotes.
And
Just
I
gonna
think
yell.
when they approached David Yates, they were like, "Hey, can you do that thing that Alfonso Cuarón did, where he just told the story with the camera, and we gave the kids shit dialogue because they can't act?" And he was like, "Yeah, I could do that," and he fucking can't.
I see. Okay. And very interesting.
And that's why when Harry's having his mind invaded, it looks like he is crossing his legs because he has to pee really bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? That moment when he's like, what I do? He's like contorting on the floor, and at one
Yep.
point his legs are twisted. And I've always thought it looks like he really has to go to the bathroom.
Let's also talk about the fact that Harry commits like a wizarding war crime in this movie, and everybody's just like lets it slide. Like Harry
Don't they
casts
all?
Harry casts the Cruciatus Curse on Bellatrix Lestrange. That is an unforgivable
a
curse.
It didn't
Bit
work.
of passion.
Unforgivable curse.
It didn't work.
Unforgivable curse.
He's
Man,
Harry
I
Potter.
forget
He's
that
under
part
the
of
protection
the,
fucking
like,
Dumbledore.
The description of that chapter, that it's like Harry, when he learned about the unforgivable curses, wondered if he was ever capable of feeling that much hatred. And now he did. And it's like, oh no.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
And then they let Harry be a cop.
When
He's
people
a-
position it as
He's
Harry
a
Potter
wizard
is
cop.
Harry Potter's not the chosen one. Harry Potter's a jock who dropped out of high school and became a cop.
Yeah, straight up, dude. Cannot relate to my protagonist.
So dumb. He's so dumb.
Can you believe that every other fucking protagonist on this network is a Hufflepuff except for Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Because we have Steven Universe, a fucking Aang from Avatar, and what's the other one?
Aang is not a Hufflepuff. I don't want to get into this
Yes.
conversation, but you're wrong
Oh,
about
You
that.
don't
Percy
even
Jackson.
fucking like Avatar The Last Airbender, so shut up and leave.
I've seen
Anyway.
the show top
You
to
haven't
bottom.
even you didn't even finish it, did you? We've had this conversation before.
When I watched it again as an adult, I
Exactly.
didn't finish it, but I
Or you
watched
just
it when I was a
froze.
child.
Take it up with my cabbages.
So you guys have kind of stumbled ass backwards into the reason that I love this movie, and by some extension this book so much,
Okay.
is that like the point Christina made about Daniel Radcliffe being the next Nicolas Cage is 100% right. The best moments you
I
get out
love
of Daniel
this man.
Radcliffe in the entire series are when he's just like loose cannon,
Is when it's
like,
Daniel
yes.
Radcliffe.
screaming
Yeah.
at people. And this movie sets him up so perfectly for those moments because I you know, say whatever you want about the writing and the basic of the sentences and the structure and everything. I think the author did a really good job of making you feel what it's like for people to not listen to Harry ever. And I think Daniel Radcliffe does an exemplary job of putting what he was given into that character and showing you this like this is a book about a kid who just like needs an adult to listen to him for 5 seconds so that nobody dies.
Yeah, but that's infuriating to read.
I'm not saying. Whoa! I didn't say it was not infuriating. I am a masochist. I like stuff that makes me sad. I like stuff that makes me feel big things. Like that's the kind of stuff that I gravitate toward.
You're so
as a
deep.
consumer.
You're so edgy. Do you have a Cage the Elephant vinyl?
No, actually,
Do you listen to Vampire Weekend?
I do. Yes, I don't see a problem with that. Vampire Weekend doesn't hurt me.
I love Vampire Weekend. Vampire Weekend's great.
Yeah.
And I don't like things that hurt me.
They
Oh my
write
God,
songs
do you
about
listen to the
nothing.
Drive-By Truckers?
Not really.
So, this movie. Oh, this was...
I'm looking up a fact. That's why I've been so quiet.
I do remember when I saw this for the first time, we went like on a random showing in the middle of the day during the summer, and it was my mom, my sister, and my sister's friend. And then 30 minutes into it, something broke with the projector and we had to get relocated and they gave us like a free pass or whatever. And anyway, about like halfway through the movie, my sister's friend leans over to me and she goes, Ron and Hermione are always wearing stripes. And I never unsaw that for the rest of the franchise. They are
really
almost
true.
always matching.
Wow.
Which is, I think, part of why I don't like the aesthetic of this movie is like, where's their fucking wizard robes? Where's their uniforms?
branding.
Hey,
They're
Poirot
just in
killed
like
that.
regular people
They
clothes
killed
now.
that in Prisoner.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate it.
The pink
Anyway.
hoodie. And I love this one because he let the kids, he was another one that let the kids dress themselves. And Daniel Radcliffe, the actor, dressed like Remus Lupin on purpose when he did the DA meetings. And that's one of those things that I'm just like, you poor, sweet, drug-addled child.
Oh, that's
I wish
cute.
somebody gave you a hug back then because that was adorable. The first time I saw this movie, I fucking hated it for what it's worth. I thought this was the worst one until probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like I remember being like pretty okay with the Goblet of Fire adaptation as a kid, but then watching this one, I was like, I feel like they missed some stuff.
Yeah. And
I mean,
then
they
six,
had
they
to. The
missed
fact
some
that they
stuff.
cut out the entirety of Quidditch is so funny. Like, it just doesn't exist
That's
in
true.
this movie. And then the next movie, it's like a huge part of the plot.
I feel like some of the stuff that they chose to leave out of the movies like was really detrimental to like our couple main characters having like their overall series arc. Like particularly Hermione in this movie, she's like, isn't it fun breaking the rules?
It's fun, isn't it?
Like,
Breaking the rules. Who are you and what have you done with Hermione
like-
Granger?
This
We
is the
didn't
same
do, like,
fucking
the whole-
She's done this the whole fucking time. She let the troll in.
She set Snape on fire.
Well, and she doesn't, but in the fourth book, she doesn't have her like spew thing. Like you don't get to see her go on like this journey of trying to figure out how to help people. And I think that's detrimental to her character.
I would agree. It is not detrimental in making me not look at house elves more often. I don't like looking at
Wow,
house elves.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't like it either.
Ethan said spew is bad, okay? Leave them in the kitchens.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Ethan is pro
You got
house
me,
elf
guys.
slavery.
I'm an elf racist.
Wow, the way that like you only get to see Creature for like a couple minutes in this movie, and they're all horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, please don't make me do this. Watch this with my own eyes.
They saw Gollum
very
and were like,
upsetting.
wow, they did that great. Let's
That's
try
so
that.
good. You
Yeah,
can't
for
let
sure.
Andy Serkis be a house elf though. Like that would
Can
be
you
too.
imagine?
That would be too. Like if he was Dobby. Oh my god.
Stop. I can't
I'm gonna
handle
go
that.
back in time and make that happen, actually.
They would put the spew stuff in Goblet if Andy Serkis played all the house elves.
Oh
And he
my
just
God.
did, like, a
I want
Seth
Andy
MacFarlane
Serkis
thing
to
where he
play
has all the different
every
voices.
house elf.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
like Warwick Davis, how they have
No.
Warwick
Oh,
Davis
yeah.
play every short character
Yes.
rather
I saw
than just
him-
hiring
I see him everywhere.
more little people actors,
Yeah. No, he can do it all though.
little actors. That would be, I think, the.
Have you read Warwick Davis's autobiography?
Ooh,
have
no,
not.
but I would.
Oh, it's fantastic. Highly recommend. Although, if you haven't seen Star Wars, you're not going to be about it.
Oh, I gotcha. I'm gonna read it because there's so few celebrities that I care enough to actually read their memoirs, but I feel like I would trust Warwick Davis to take me on an adventure.
Warwick Davis
definitely,
is
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
This is, I think, this is also the first movie that has Kingsley, played by George Harris, whom I quite like. I think that he fulfills
to
exactly
admit
how the
he has
character
style.
was written, but I wish he was written better. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Rather than Kingsley Shacklebolt.
that's basically
Yeah, we don't say his last name here on the podcast. It's like so deeply uncomfortable.
basically every member of the Order is like, I'm glad they were written. I wish they were written better.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
glad. Yeah, it's like a fun thing that, like, as a reader, you're like, oh, I hope this character makes it into the movie, and you see them, and you're like, yay! And then it's like, oh, that
got
was a little
nothing.
disappointing, but
That
okay.
was schmedium.
Yeah,
Although they did
There's
give
Tonks.
Kingsley the
I was
iconic,
thinking,
you cannot deny Dumbledore's got style.
yeah, that's Phineas Nigellus in the books. I was thinking of Tonks as well because they do that thing where they have her trip one time and then they're like, that's all you
That's
need
it.
to know.
And also her fucking like shape shifting, all she does is like change her hair
Too hard.
from like purple to red. And she does it when she's being angry. So it's almost like they're implying like, oh, her shape shifting is connected to her emotions. And
She has no control over
and
it.
they do have like a brief moment where she's like turning her face into a duck at dinner, and then that's it. And then I don't think you ever see her be what is the word for that?
Metamorph Magus.
Metamorph.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, fuck, I did it wrong because it's a terrible, terrible word.
Yeah, but the worst portmanteau of all time.
Yeah, we hates it.
Yeah, there's just too damn many characters in this for a movie. Like, should have like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those things where like I'm glad they all got in the movie, right? Because like I like having a person to associate with Tonks, a person to associate with Kingsley and stuff like that. But like, they could have cut half those people, and
There would have been riots in the streets if they cut all of these ridiculously pointless Order of the Phoenix characters.
yeah, it's
I
true.
know, there was no right answer.
Guys, let's talk about fucking Nigel, though. That kid that gets, I feel like, a weird amount of screen time
Oh,
in this
because
movie.
he's like he's a amalgamation of the Creevy brothers
Yeah.
from the books, I think.
I
is
know,
what he's
but
meant
it's
to
like,
be.
why?
They could have just had it be. They could have just brought Colin Creevy back. You know,
Maybe
that was
kid
another
was
character
busy
that like they
filming
had him
Stuart
show up.
Little or something.
Oh. There's only 5 British actors.
I love Nigel because I am a huge fan of the montages in this movie. Like the scene where they're doing all the DA stuff, and also Umbra just putting up all of
Another excellent score.
her
Decrees.
decrees, yes. And
Yeah.
and you know, Harry and Cho are doing their thing in between all that and like all this. Like that is such a good like 6 minutes of movie. And when I was a kid,
Montage.
I was like, they cut so many chapters and so many good moments. And
As an
adult,
this
I'm like,
book is ripe for
perfect.
montages.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is the book. You can never
I
tell
wish
this
the book
story
could
without
have been a
series
montage,
of montages. Yeah, like just give me an impression, like a music video.
you could
know?
have cut 400 pages out of this book.
I know, and I would have. Like, I feel like it's unethical as an editor to let a book like this get into the world.
And the thing is, like, the first couple books was like, a thing happened on Halloween, and then another thing happened at Christmas, and then another thing happened in the spring, and then Voldemort. And that was the book, and it was like the first
And
one
then
was like
with this
150
one, she was like,
pages.
"What if the whole year is terrible?"
Yeah,
Let's
What
go
if
into
something
detail about
What if
that.
something stupid happens every 8 minutes
Yeah.
all year?
I have to imagine that, like, by this point, when she turned in the manuscript for this book, they were like, "We're going to let her do what she wants because
Yeah.
these things are popping off."
never let an author do what she wants.
Have I told you my theory on this?
What?
That like the first one had a shit editor, but then it sold really well. Because the first one, like the original first edition copies, are like full of typos and weird random
Like
shit.
Twilight.
Yeah. And then, you know, they edited it down. And then for the next 2 books, they were like, we'll give you whatever deal you want, but you have to let us edit them. And then she sold so many copies that she came back before the 4th book and was like, no, fuck you guys. I'm going to write whatever the fuck I want. And for the next 4 books or whatever is left, she just wrote utter nonsense. And that's why, like, after the 3rd book, they just get to be like super thick.
Yeah. There's a noticeable increase from 3 to 4.
How do you guys feel about the whole Saint Mungo's being cut from the books.
That
There's
is-
like literally 75 pages about Saint Mungos that are cut.
That is one of my favorite
good.
parts of the book, though. Legitimately,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, but
I
It's a
love
nice,
the-
like, sweet moment for Neville.
yeah.
But, like, I would say you kind of, it's more about, like, building out the world of, like, here's how the hospital, here's how our healthcare system works.
Wow. Yeah. And I guess it does work. Because they just walk in. Do you think they have wizard health insurance?
Oh my God.
I think they do have universal health care.
There's the guy that gets assassinated by the Devil's Snare, and like all that happens, and they
Oh,
they meet
yeah.
Lockhart, and
Oh, I
Neville gets to meet
forgot
his parents.
Lockhart's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Lockhart's at
That's
St.
what I'm saying. It's a
Mungo's.
good.
Maybe
like,
they couldn't get Kenneth Branagh, and they're like, well, if we're not going to get him for the scene in the movie,
He was going
then
through
we're
a
not gonna do
divorce
it.
with Emma Thompson at the time, so I'm sure
They
he's
were
not-
already divorced.
They
were
blacklisted
divorced.
him from this franchise.
They did not. They were
Yeah.
not married when they did 2 and 3.
Well, he's not in 3.
Well, she's not in. Yeah, she doesn't show up until 3.
I know,
and
but
he's
that
only
they
in
were
2.
not. They were not like they were.
So they wouldn't
exes
have
by that
overlapped at
point.
all. Yeah.
There was no. That was like intentional, apparently.
Emma Thompson is quite possibly the Queen of England. She could
Yeah.
have played Hermione, as far as I'm
The
concerned.
adult women in this movie series give so much more than their characters deserve
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
as they were written.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. I completely agree.
Emma Thompson's portrayal of Sybil Trelawney makes Trelawney in the books so much better.
Yeah.
Same
Like
with
you
McGonagall.
go back and you read the Trelawney things, and you like imagine Emma Thompson's mannerisms and stuff. It's so
read
much
them.
fun.
I read it in her voice. I read
Yeah.
McGonagall in Maggie Smith's voice.
third eye.
The Great Beyond. I'll be right back. I can hear.
What did you say earlier? A red moon rises.
Goodbye, Tyler.
I can hear my
Come right back.
Red moon. I can hear my firstborn son wailing. So give me
A
just a
red
minute.
moon rises.
Blood has been spilled.
Blood has been spilled this night.
That scene where Umbridge and McGonagall are like, I think it's when she's first made the High Inquisitor, and
Yeah.
McGonagall is like confronting her, and they do that thing where like they keep like stepping up, and then finally Umbridge gets like this last like gut punch statement or whatever, and then McGonagall steps back down and is like, disloyalty. And
It's
then
so
Umbridge
stupid.
like steps up and then looks around and goes like, things at Hogwarts are far worse than
It's
I
like, can you
assumed."
tell a shift in power is happening before your very
Okay, so I'm getting the
eyes?
sense that you didn't like that scene. I really like that scene.
I always enjoy the adult actors in any of like all of these movies. They're
Oh, yeah.
having a good time. Like they're here. That's why that's exactly the kind of scene that feels so stage play like to me. You know what I mean? Like they have like a couple stares and they're really like making the most of it.
Yes.
Yeah, anytime Alan Rickman is on screen in either 5 or 6, because he's like barely in them.
Yeah.
What even does he do in the? Oh, that's right, fucking occlumency.
Yeah.
So I hate him in this movie. Like I wish that
Control
he got to do,
your emotions.
I wish he got to
Prepare
do
your
any of
mind.
Snape's like fun interactions from the book because Snape
Yeah.
has so much screen time in the book just doing petty shit constantly. Like I wish that Alan Rickman got the opportunity to just like play a little bit more with that character.
In 6 especially, he gets so many moments of just like being like a doofus in the background, which is what you need Snape to be doing at all times. Like they should have had Alan Rickman in every single scene and just been like, go do Snape stuff. Just like I swear to God, the scene where he like whacks the kids in the head.
Back of the head, because they're talking about
just-
like getting dates or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had to be like Alan Rickman. They were just like, go mess with them. And he was
Yeah. I forgot this movie gives us the iconic, you have applied every year for Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Is that correct? Yes.
yes.
But you were unsuccessful? Obviously.
Obviously.
Iconic.
So great.
And just that
Iconic.
With the fucking Umbridge music in the background. It's
the
so
music
good.
playing in the background the whole time. Oh my God.
It's
Nicholas
so
Hooper
brilliant.
fucking crushed.
He just nailed it because the music, it's so
Crushed
like
the music for
sickly.
this movie.
It's so light and flighty because she's such a small
It's a
person,
little
but it's like
unsettling.
sinister and
Yeah.
like sickly. Love it.
Yeah.
I've said it from the beginning. I love the John Williams music that they came up with Harry Potter. It's iconic, right? It's such like Hedwig's theme is such a good piece of music. I still think he was the wrong guy for the job from the beginning.
Oh, interesting.
I think they just like they needed Christopher Columbus to get the things going.
Yeah.
I think they needed John Williams.
They needed John
to
Williams
establish
attached
everything.
to it, and they needed you to hear John Williams' music. But like the Harry Potter themes were gonna get written anyway. He's always made that clear that like he doesn't write music for the fucking movie. He writes music and then gives it to people.
Give it. Yeah, that's true.
Like there's pieces of score in the first three that it's just like it's straight copied from Star Wars or Jurassic Park or E.T. or whatever. Like the dude is so, and to his credit, he keeps collecting the bag for the same pieces of music over and over again. I cannot fault him for that. But like this music was gonna get written and it was gonna be iconic for something regardless. I just think I still think the vibes were, especially by the end of his tenure there. But and a lot of people disagree with me on that. That's fine. Like that's just my kind of hot take about that is like I prefer the music in these so much more.
I don't remember necessarily any like standout themes from 6, 7, or 8, like musical themes. Like with 5, I viscerally remember like the DA theme, the Umbridge theme, the fireworks theme.
It's so weird,
but I don't remember the other movies.
7 and 8 are Alexandre Desplat, who does like all the Wes Anderson movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's like normally I'm like, he's a themes guy. Like, you know pieces of music from Wes Anderson movies just from fucking TikTok. Like, he's a themes guy. And then after I saw those two movies, somebody was like, oh yeah, these are by him. And I was like, no, they're not. That's a lie.
It's all kind of like nondescript, yeah.
The music for 7 and 8, it does the job. Like it's there for all the scenes it needs to be there. You don't think about it, but like he's not usually the composer that does music that you don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the kind of guy that wins Oscars. Like he doesn't just like do, oh, this is a music for a movie, which is kind of what that stuff sounded like.
I feel like you guys know a lot more about who composes movie stuff than me. I feel
I don't.
Oh, I
only
know a lot
like
about
one
that.
director and one.
I know
composer,
John
and
Williams.
I'm like, yeah.
Well, and I know I just like I really love a lot of these the themes from the Harry Potter movies because the different composers over the years that they've gotten have all really, like I think I've talked about before, like the Lockhart theme is amazing. Like they really, a lot of them just did like a really excellent job of like matching the tone and matching the scene and like creating the vibes, you know.
When I was a kid, the only one that I had like on CD was the Prisoner of Azkaban soundtrack, which is actually like extraordinarily stressful because it has that like crazy night bus song. And then it has like these like the gigantic like timpani drums when he's like riding Buckbeak, and I would like fall asleep with like nice intro music and then wake up to
like there's
the loudest drums. And
there's like peaceful music when there are the scenes where you see like the seasons changing with the Whomping Willow, and then like a leaf will fall, and then it's like ba 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 night bus.
Hi Tyler.
Hello. I calmed my firstborn son down.
Oh, congrats.
My wife was not happy that it was not that hard for me because she has been trying for like an hour.
Oh.
But that's just kids. Shit happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back.
What else happens in this movie?
I couldn't possibly tell you. I mean, can we talk
Ooh,
about
wait. Oh, sorry. Okay. No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
Sounds like Tina's about to change the subject, so.
Yeah.
We have the introduction of Ivana Lynch as Luna Lovegood, and just another outstanding like casting decision. And
listen, I love Ivana Lynch. I know the story, and like she read the character, and she was like, "I have to do this. I was born for this." I just don't think it's good casting. I think I think that she makes the character something great, but I don't think that's the character that was written.
I mean, maybe it's because I watched the movie before I read what is this movie, Order of the Phoenix, but when I read Luna Lovegood, I hear it in her
I do too.
voice.
I do not easily imagine Ivana Lynch, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe she has some story about this, and I don't want to project my experiences on others. I cannot imagine that she was like the ugly girl that was bullied in the Ravenclaw common room.
That's not why she's bullied. Did you read the books at all?
Yeah, she is bullied because she's spacey as hell.
Yeah, she's bullied because she's
that's
weird.
That's like supposed to be the Ravenclaw thing. and they like steal her shit and
No,
hide it
it's
places.
not that she's smart.
There's
It's that
different kinds
she's
of
weird.
Ravenclaws, yeah.
She's like she
She's
believes
mad
in
scientist
these.
Ravenclaw.
Well, and I
Yeah.
didn't expect her to look like, because at the end of the movie, her Converse are hanging from the capstone. I thought for sure that meant that she was destined for like a European NBA league.
no,
but yeah,
she doesn't have enough aggression to play any kind of sports.
She's another. I think every time we do one of these movie episodes that there's a lot of random quotes from this franchise that I would just like say spontaneously, like
That's why
friends
I
in
have
high
you
school.
I have you on all the movie episodes so that you can do
And-
quotes.
and
You
Yvonne-
haven't done
and-
enough.
And
Do
like
more.
Luna Lovegood being like, I can see them too. You're just as sane as I am. And then like she slowly pulls down the quibbler, and then she's like, because if Voldemort, if you're isolated from your friends, you're not much of a threat. And then like she turns and smiles at him, and Harry's like, that's not comforting at all, but thanks. That's
Man,
nice.
like the Luna Lovegood says in that scene, like the thing, like Harry never realizes that that's what Voldemort's trying to do the entire book. Like no one explains it to him. Like the movie's like, here guys, I know you're having a hard time with this movie. We're not giving you enough backstory. Here's what we're getting at. He's trying to make him feel alone. Are you getting that?
Oh, dude, you explained that to me literally just now.
My mom died when I was 8. It was quite horrible. No, what did she say? She's like, my mom died. It was quite horrible. I was 9.
I see. The thing
I
is,
believe you.
I don't think any of you are wrong though. Like, it's not the character that was written, and they do that a lot in this series. And I think that we've just kind of like reverse imagined people onto them.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you because they literally took lines from the book that Luna says about like Nargles and the Thestrals and stuff.
Dude, I don't know, but taking like words verbatim is not the same thing as like extracting
Oh,
like a nice
okay,
fully
then never
formed
mind.
character. I feel like
No, but what I'm saying is, I can see somebody reading the book for the first time, not knowing Ivana Lynch, and being like, that's not necessarily what I would have pictured. I think you get that a lot with a lot of the characters in this series, but like they're just such iconic performances that we sort of have reverse engineered, like grafted that
Yeah.
person back onto them in our memories. Because like Alan Rickman's Snape is pretty far off the mark in a lot
Disagreed.
of ways.
no, I totally.
I think he's
that
just a different age.
He's the
Well,
wrong age
everybody's a
for
different
sure.
age.
They're all a different age, and I feel like they
Yeah.
just literally don't have enough time to get into the depths of his backstory, which are 110% sinister and ill-spirited.
Yeah, so this
They
is,
don't have time, so he's just like a good guy.
this is a blanket statement across almost all like fantasy and science fiction for me. Not science fiction, like this kind of stuff, you know.
Fantasy.
Is this what we call this fantasy? I can
It's
never,
fantasy.
Okay, then
This is
yes,
It's literally
fantasy.
fantasy.
Okay, fine. I don't usually ever have a problem with people being aged up. Like, it would be a lot harder to watch James and Lily die in stuff if they looked like they were 21, you know?
Yeah, and it would have been weird if Benedict Cumberbatch was in there at like 20 years old playing Snape.
Yeah.
Yo,
And the thing
not
is, like,
Snape, but like he. I
Serious.
think he would have been a young like that age that Benedict Cumberbatch was. I think he would have been great as a Anyway, go on. Sorry.
yeah, it's like, it's the same with Game of Thrones. It's like, everybody's like, oh man, they aged everybody up. And it's like, yeah, because you can't do this stuff to anybody, but you really can't do it to a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that's Game of Thrones was the liability.
Duh,
to
exactly.
not age
Right,
them
like,
up.
and that's how I feel about the adults in this. And people get, oh, the Marauders aren't old enough, and I'm like, because nobody's gonna trust them if they're 29 years old or whatever. Like,
I do feel like when I was younger, I was like, oh my god, like these absolute grown-ups. But like
Yeah, that's
the
the-
older I get, I'm like, they were so much younger than
Yeah,
me
that's
during
the
this
punch
story,
to the
and
gut, is
I'm
that
an idiot. So
we are
like, they
now
were
all much
idiots.
older than
than James and Lily
three-
ever got
three
to
of-
be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's when it get. Like, I mean, like that's just part of, growing up is like when you're younger, you think people who are 20 are adults, and then you get to 20 and you're like, oh no.
And you get to 30 and you're like, 20-year-olds are actual babies. They may as well be 10.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the thing is like only a 21-year-old or whatever would have been like, Peter Pettigrew can be my secret keeper.
Right. I should do it. I should just be a bro. I should
This
help
guy
him
who
out.
changes into a literal rat, I think
like-
he'll be okay.
Yeah, I should just be a
my
bro.
God.
Is exactly James Potter's outlook on life at all times.
We should throw him a bone on
because
this
he's
one.
a child. He's an unformed, undeveloped child.
Yeah, he's like all the guys I dated in college. You know what I mean?
He's
Yeah.
like the guy I was in college. I mean, I wasn't like him, but like I remember being that age, and I was not in any capacity to be having children and fighting a war.
Are there any more like shout out performances we want to shout out?
Specifically from Order,
Yeah.
fucking Helena Bonham Carter.
Ray
Ooh,
Fawn.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, that's right. This is
There's been an ongoing debate.
Is this the first time that we see her as?
Yeah.
She breaks out of prison, and she's on the loose. We've had some debate on like in the pod community recently about whether or not her depiction was, first of all, like good and fun, and like on the flip side, like does it match what the book has said?
Oh, not at all.
But do
I
you
don't
like her
know, 'cause this is
performance? Do you
another-
think she like
I-
conveys the character?
I think basically they were like, okay, so we got Gary Oldman to play Sirius Black, right? We kind of overshot that one. Like he's legendary, right? Like
Yeah,
people are gonna
too
like
good.
this character too much. If Bellatrix Lestrange is gonna kill him, we have to really get somebody to do that.
we have to
To go,
we
yeah.
gotta convince the people
'Cause
that
she's
this
just-
person could kill him.
She's kind of like a non-character in the books. Like she does a lot of stuff, but there's no life behind that.
She's
eyes.
bad and she's evil, but
She's evil elevator
She's
music.
just like an evil henchman.
Yeah.
yeah, but Helena Bonham Carter, they like gave her this part and then they're like, go ham.
And that-
she
Dude,
did.
I think that Bellatrix is really like in a lot of sex cults out there, there's like the alpha woman, you know, that like gets other people like in order for the cult leader. And I really think that Bellatrix, because especially if you think about Cursed Child, which I don't like to, but Bellatrix and Voldemort literally have a baby in that. Well, he's not a baby anymore, but I don't know. That's all I know about Cursed Child. But I just feel like it's very culty. Like in the language that the dialogue that she has in the books is like, I think just portrays her as more of someone who's like a part of this system. You know what I mean? Like, and whereas in the movie, she's kind of just like this crazy rogue agent, just like taunting people. You know what I mean?
I think there's like 7 deadly sins, right? That's what we're going for with Bellatrix and Lucius. Is there's like greed and lust or whatever.
No.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, so Bellatrix is
Where are the other 5?
evil for
Fucking
evil's
no.
sake. Lucius is evil because it was the easy answer.
Well, I
Like-
think also a lot of it is implied about like her imprisonment in Azkaban that she
Yeah, really
You know.
went for it. Yeah.
like it, you know, what she went in as, it was completely like amplified by her experience in Azkaban.
And I think there's definitely a story about Lucius Malfoy that isn't told. I think we talk a lot about Draco's redemption, but I don't think I've ever considered that like when Harry was killed by Voldemort, Lucius Malfoy had to like make a decision like, I have a baby that age. Do I join Voldemort and protect my child, or do I fight back? And I think he takes the coward's choice. And that's kind of like the story, right? Is that Lucius is the coward.
He's definitely a pushover, you know, like in fucking Chamber of Secrets, maybe he's like bossing shit around, but as soon as Voldemort comes back, he's just a bitch. You know what I mean?
God, I can't wait until we get to movie 7 because what's it? Jason Isaacs is just.
Jason Isaacs is dead.
Fabulous.
I mean, like
Yeah.
he's always been fabulous with Lucius, but like the
And that's one of those
choices
ones.
that they make for his portrayal in like the last movies is so like deserving, you know, for like what Lucius deserves.
He's
Yeah.
definitely one of those ones that you go back in your mind and you've permanently grafted Jason Isaacs onto that character. Like,
yeah, for sure.
He is inseparable from that character.
Yeah, and he also plays like Mr. Darling and Captain Hook in that 2003 version of Peter Pan that I'm obsessed with.
And then he also plays Hook. Do you not know that? Okay.
When does
No,
he
I
play?
thought there was
I
going to
think
be
I
like
said
an
that.
amazing moment where you were like, he played Hook too.
No, I think I said that though.
Oh, you just said Mr. Darling.
Okay. Well, only the playback will tell. Mr. Darling and Captain Hook. Mr. Darling and Captain Hook. Mr. Darling and Captain Hook. Anyway, he just like looks good in a ponytail, and in Chamber of Secrets, he has that like blonde hair with like a black velvet bow, and it's like the
It looks
daddiest
great.
thing.
You know who I pictured just now as Lucius is a Harry Potter sequel, Lucius.
That one, okay, Harry Potter sequel is like kind of everything to me. Like the only love in my heart that I still have for Order of the Phoenix is only a Harry Potter sequel content.
Yes.
Like none of the original material is doing it for me. Ethan, Tyler, have you either of you seen that?
No.
No, 'cause
Not
they
in a
don't
long
like
time.
fun.
It's quite
Actually, no,
fun,
I
in my
don't. I
personal
don't think
opinion.
you guys would enjoy it.
Really.
I haven't seen the sequel. No.
And that's fine. Also,
I think it's quite enjoyable. Does anyone have anything left from the film any points we haven't touched on yet? I don't know. My point that I want to touch on is I don't think we've talked about that horrific kiss between Harry and Jo enough, because it is the most awkward thing I've ever seen.
but like
with
it's
my own
supposed to be
eyes.
awkward.
Yeah,
No,
but
I know
they go
it's
the
like
extra mile.
They go the extra mile. Like I'm not joking when I say that they're standing in like a perfect like A-frame formation. Like it reminds me of when I was in high school. There was a rule that you could only hug people like to the side because
Christian
otherwise you're
side
like
hug.
roping them. It was a very crowded public school, and we would get in trouble. And that's what this thing reminds me of. They're like, well, don't want to get in trouble during our crying Christmas makeout session. It's so bad. They have Daniel Radcliffe like cannot. They don't give him enough room to experience his character. Like he cannot have chemistry, I think, with anyone really. Like he has zero chemistry with Jo. He has zero chemistry with Ginny. Like he's just barreling through scenes because that's how Harry's character is written in this.
It is a weird thing to be like, Harry needs to have a romantic connection with Ginny or Cho or whomever, but also, while that's happening, he needs to be inside the brain of Wizard Hitler.
I mean, I think it's a point
God,
that
it's
it's like
so hard
he's
to be a
also a
teenager.
teenager. He's a
Right.
child, and he's doing teenage boy things.
And the thing is, like, when they wrote these books, it was very much like, oh man, I don't know how far we can push the envelope. You know, the Christians already kind of hate me because Harry's a wizard and it's all witchcraft and shit. And then every single YA book written after that is like, and the 15-year-olds can fuck.
Yeah. It's outstanding when you read like you get to a certain age reading these books where you're like, oh, I know what happened in that fade to black. Like I know what
Yeah.
happened. It'll be like after
Yeah.
later.
It's like in
He
Harry
wrapped
Potter,
his arm around me and it's like, I know what happened.
in Harry Potter, he still says Ginny has nice skin.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
it's just so quintessentially like not Harry Potter the franchise, but like Harry Potter the dumb boy character.
It's almost like they had to prove that he
Pizzicato.
wasn't his father.
Listen,
That like he can't pull to save his life.
Oh man.
James Potter pulled one girl, and it was because Snape bullied her. And he was like, oh, I'm captain of the Quidditch team. Like imagine this, okay? The movie is high school, okay? And instead of throughout the movie, you're cheering for the nerd to get the girl, you're cheering for the jock to get the girl at the end of it. You don't want Heath Ledger to end the movie with Mary Clay. You want like the quarterback.
What?
You
I
weren't
don't
you
know
in that?
any of the words that you just said.
You were in 10 Things I Hate About You. That girl that looks like you.
Oh my god!
Yikes!
What's her name?
Julia
She's
Stiles.
I was just about to say she's a Kristen, isn't she? She kind of looks like she could be, but that is indeed Julia Stiles. And you do kind of look like her, Mary Clay. Interesting. If you were a blonde.
I had a friend early in college that looked more like Julia Stiles, so that's the person I know that looks like Julia Stiles to me.
Here's the
Who?
thing. I need to make it clear. I don't think I look like Julia Stiles. I have had multiple people tell me on separate occasions that they think I look like we're not even like watching 10 Things I Hate About You. Like just at random, someone will be like, you look like Julia Stiles.
Well, it's never occurred to me in all our friendship, but now that it was said to me, it's occurring to me.
Oh my God. Go watch 10 Things I Hate About You and you'll be like, holy shit, that's Mary Clay.
Another thing that I would quote all the time from this movie is that first DADA class when she walks in and she's writing on the chalkboard with like the magic wanding chalk, and she goes, ordinary wizarding level examinations, OWLs, more commonly known as owls. And then at some point she's like, you have been told that a certain wizard is at large once again. This is a lie. It's not a lie. I saw him. I followed him. Detention, Mr. Potter.
All right, I'm going to stop you there.
I could just do the whole movie. Let's keep going.
Hate how I know this movie's for like children or whatever, but when he's doing his detention scene and it's like writing on his hand with the blood, is his like, I think that he places his hand in like such a weird position for someone who's like writing on a piece of paper, and he's like pretty much like displaying it like he just got a manicure, and then it's for the camera, and it's like obviously something crazy is about to happen to his hand.
It's like the director
subtle.
clearly said,
cute.
we need your hand on the desk so we can see what happens. But he didn't think about, okay, if I had both of my hands on my desk, what? Because like the normal thing to do would be to hold the piece of paper with your other hand. But he didn't do that. It was just kind of like sitting there in a way that's like clearly something's going to happen. Which also in the book, it's not the other hand. It's the hand that they write with.
Oh, really? I don't.
Yeah, I'm
that
pretty
detail.
sure.
Okay,
How dare they
I
change
believe you.
that? I don't feel like that, now the book is ruined.
I know. Yeah.
Ruined.
The movie is we throw it out.
We missed that entire scene where Hagrid talks about the war with the
No, that's okay. I don't.
Fucking
giants.
Glop or whatever his name
I know.
is. What a stupid
Christina,
addition.
I want to know, how does your young self feel when you watched this movie for the first time and you saw that Madame Puddifoot had been cut?
I don't remember
Who?
because I don't. The infamous Madame Puddifoot's Valentine's
The
Day
first date that
chapter.
Cho and Harry
Cho
go
Chang
on.
and Harry Potter's
Oh my
date.
God. Thank God it's not there.
Yeah, I don't think I cared as much about that scene when I was reading this as a kid because I don't know. I guess it was inorganic and horrible. So only as an adult am I like, this is truly the absolute like most god awful spectacle I've ever encountered in my entire life.
Funny.
So I don't remember anything from before I was like 26.
Okay, then never mind. Well, the next movie episode we do will be extra fun because by the time the sixth movie had come out, I had read the books. So
Oh, true.
I'll be able to share my first. And here's a spoiler alert. I was mad.
I was also mad when 6 came out, and now
I
I,
love
think it's
6.
my first or second favorite. I don't know which.
I was going to say, I think
like
it's another
6 a lot
case of
now.
like the vibes are immaculate.
6
Yeah,
is
the vibes
so
are
fucking
immaculate.
funny.
It's
Yeah,
great, but
I think it's like the greatest relief after reading this book. I'm very excited
Yeah.
to get into it in I think 1 exact month from the day this episode comes out. Let me double check.
woo!
Allow me to refer to my schedule. So this is coming out on May 24th, and we're gonna start the Half-Blood Prince pregame episode on July 12th. So there.
Is a Half-Blood Prince pregame where like you put 20 ounces of blood and tied into like a 40 that you've half emptied?
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
really like metallic tasting brass monkey.
Yeah. This tastes like shitty beer and blood?
Am I getting
It's
blood?
energizing. Any last words about this movie before we wrap it up?
No. It's a
I don't
movie.
like Grop. I don't like that was
No, I don't like
included.
Grop at
I also
all.
don't like the continuity error where he hands the bike to Hermione and then in the next shot he's holding the bike.
Interesting. I didn't even catch that. You know why? Because I was looking at my phone. I was not.
I wish Grop wasn't in the series.
Grop's a weird thing.
I watched this twice, and I cannot pay attention to this movie.
I'll tell you, Grop makes me, like, I've forgiven Haggard for a lot of dumb shit, but when they introduce Grop,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I forgive you anymore, man. You might be a shitbag.
You're just actively being dumb now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, as hard as you can to make everything hard for everyone. All right, well, let's move on to plugs and stuff. Tyler, where can people find you on the internet or, like, hear your dulcet tones?
I think the only place you can find me on the internet right now is by opening your favorite podcast app and searching Bacon and Eggs, a silly little podcast, and then you'll find Ethan and I being our silly little selves.
And what's something you've been watching or reading or listening to or playing or thinking about lately you think the listeners would enjoy?
I've been reading the Thrawn series by Timothy Zahn, the new canon Thrawn. It's a Star
I've
Wars.
never heard of any of this.
It's a Star Wars pair of trilogies. They're books, and they're very good. They're like Ender's Game meets Sherlock Holmes in the Star Wars universe,
That's
and
fun.
they're really good.
Nice. Okay, I love that recommendation. Ethan, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at the same podcast places that Tyler's at. You can find me on Instagram at Edghill Photos. It's EDGHILL. There's only one E in my last name. And I don't know. I don't do much social media anymore either, if I'm being honest.
That's all
And
right.
a thing that I would recommend is I just read a book called The Book of Coley. Because Audible pitched it to me, and it was a very good audiobook, and it's like a weird like post-apocalyptic but also fantasy book.
It makes you feel
Who's
the
big
author?
things, you know.
The author is
It reads like Cigarette Daydream sounds.
What?
it's nothing. It's literally nothing like that at all. His name is M.R. Casey.
Have you ever listened to the
M.R.
1975? It's
Carey,
like that.
Carey. I'm talking about something. Tyler, shut up. It's nothing like that. It's like a probably not young adult, maybe young adult, I guess.
There's
it's like
a
young
genre
adult,
called
like-
new adult that's
No.
like in between.
I was just trying to remember what age the dude actually like was.
Yeah, because the genre
'Cause-
refers to the age of the characters, right?
It's not always, but a lot of the time.
So it's about like a 16-year-old, I think, but he does like big fancy fantasy adult shit happens to him all the time. So,
Okay.
but also
I feel
it
you.
doesn't. I don't know. It's cool. There's 3 of them, I think, and
Does he have
Yeah.
to play Battleship with Wizard Hitler?
no, but it is about basically a caveman finding an iPod. So
Oh, that's
Ooh, that's
cool.
fun.
that's
That's
essentially
very
the-
fun.
that's essentially
Plato
the plot.
wrote a story kind of like that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot like The Cave, weirdly enough. Yeah.
Mary Clay, where can people find you on the internet?
You can listen to That's What I'm Talking About wherever you get podcasts. I don't know when this episode is coming out, and I don't know when the episode we recorded is coming out, but Christina was on recently, or possibly in the near future, talking about Shadow of Mordor.
It's true.
Yeah, it was a fun conversation.
This episode's coming out May 24th, by the way.
Okay, cool. I don't know what day today is. I still
It's
don't
May
know
17th.
when.
It's the 17th.
Okay, great. And I'm going to plug a movie called Cocaine Bear. No, I'm just kidding. I'm plugging Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Obviously.
Although I do also plug Cocaine Bear. It's
Oh,
just
shit.
a fun time. Tears of the Kingdom is legitimate. I mean, like I got very sucked into Breath of the Wild, so I knew that like even if this ended up being like a huge disappointment, that I would still probably put in as many hours as I did with Breath of the Wild. But like I am so thoroughly enjoying it. Like so far, I personally have unlocked like half of the map. I've done one of the like main regional quests. So like there's still so much to do, obviously, but like it's just
Quite fun.
Fuck,
it's
dude.
just so much fun. It's so ridiculous the way that there are people crucifying and sacrificing Koroks, and people are making Trojan horses and like bomber planes into bokoblin camps. It's so amazing. And then I'm just over here trying to like attach a plank of wood to another plank of wood. And then I'm like, fuck this. I'm just going to spend the next 20 minutes climbing that mountain.
There are people who play video games like let me push every limit, and then there's people like me I'm just desperately seeking like the intended path, and for some reason it's always such a struggle for me.
Well, especially in Breath of the Wild, I don't know if it's the same in Tears of the Kingdom. There was not a fucking intended path. They put you in the ground and were just like, go do stuff. Fight
They
find
have
Zelda and stuff.
They have a set of like if we were to make an intended path, this would be it, and they kind of like have ways of suggesting you in this like direction of events. But exactly, you can do, which is what like I landed on the ground after the main tutorial part, and I didn't follow the main quest and I was like, cool, I can go explore. And then I was like, oh no, I don't have everything I need to explore yet. So like, you can go do whatever you want, but sometimes it has consequences.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
but it's fun to find. It's the definition of fuck around and find out. It's fantastic.
Well, if you want to find me on the internet in another place, you can play Fortnite with me at either Ty Carlin or Ty Carlin 11. Those are both accounts that I own, and I'm on a lot.
Oh, okay. I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And I'm going to plug today the podcast that I've been listening to recently, which is admittedly Celebrity Memoir Book Club. I love podcasts that are just like two silly, smart, like hot bitches just shooting the shit about something they're vaguely interested in. And this podcast is no different.
You'd love bacon and eggs.
I love that approximately 1 hour ago you were like, oh man, I don't really like celebrity memoirs. And then your recommendation was a podcast about celebrity memoirs.
No, I'm not going to read them. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
I want to
get
hear
it.
someone tell me about
You
them.
want to hear like, oh, the fucking Prince Harry memoir.
Yeah, like I want someone to explain it to me. I'm not going to read it with my
I
own
want to
eyes.
like listening to people
With the
talk
eyes
about
that
that
God
one on
gave me?
TikTok
No.
is so
Absolutely
funny.
not.
When he's like, this lotion that smelled like my mom, I jerked off with it when I was 15.
I just have no desire to see Prince Harry as a human being in any capacity.
Wait, is it
Yeah.
Harry's the one that left the family, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
All right, that's the end of the podcast. Any last words, Ethan and Tyler? Thank you for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure, and I don't think we've ever had like the full family of the four of us before, and I
think
just have
so,
had a
yeah.
wonderful time.
The only time I've been on with Mary Clay was the first time, and ever since then you keep scheduling me with other people.
Yeah, you don't fucking
Feels like
schedule
the
me.
first time. Well, I like to schedule Ethan with Grace because
You
We went
like
to
her
fucking
better.
high school together.
they went to high school together.
I went
So
to
did
high school
Tyler,
with
for what it's
Grace.
worth.
Ethan comes on the show a little bit more than Tyler because you're easier to schedule with, Ethan.
I'm very
I don't have
busy.
any kids. I have one corgi.
That's the thing.
I have 2 dogs.
I
3 right
show
now.
people your corgi sometimes. Like, I want you to know. So my husband, Sean, we have 4 cats. I've always wanted a dog. Sean's like, if we ever get a dog, and I'm not saying yes, it 100% will be a corgi.
Oh, I
sometimes
love that.
Sometimes I show him your dog, and I'm like, I think it's time for us to get a dog. So far, no dice. But I do show your dog to people.
He's a good kid, man. He's a nightmare, but I do love him.
He's a good kid. He's a nightmare.
Well, he has the bite strength of the jaws of life.
Oh my God.
So like I'm constantly having to get him new, like very hard toys. And I'm just like, I can't give him like a nice stuffed animal or anything. He'll destroy it in 14 seconds. He rips it to shreds like an alligator.
I know, he does that to my toys too. I'm not mad, but he does do that. Can I close the show out?
Yeah, close it.
Thank you so much for listening to the restricted section. I will now bring you the final words of a banned book, one that would be in such restricted section. This is the final sentence of Mr. Popper's Penguins. Then they solemnly lifted their flippers and waved as the great ship moved slowly down the river toward the sea.
I want to follow up with the ending line of a chapter in the Witcher book that I'm currently reading, which
That
was,
will be restricted from a freaking elementary school.
I will
for
gladly
sure.
come.
There it is. Yep.
Or I'm pretty sure it's I'll come glad. He literally says like, but they're referring to going to I'll gladly come.
He's talking about an orgasm though, right?
I will leave you guys on a quote from this movie by Albus Dumbledore, which is, "Minister, you seem to be laboring under delusion that I'm going to," what was the phrase? "Come quietly."
I'm stopping my
And
recording.
that's what I'm. Oh shit! Wrong.
And that's what I'm restricting about.
And that's what we're restricting.
And that shit is restricted.
And that's why this is in the restricted section.
I'm Adel Rafai.
I'm not
podcast
recording
has more
anymore. You don't.
endings
I'm
this-
JPC, and I'm Aaron Keefe.
Return to the King.
Jupiter, bye forever.
Bye forever. The doctor was the mother.
Created by Adel Rafai.
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the restricted section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook @RestrictedSectionPod, or in our Facebook group, The Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here. Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guests and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one super scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
Well, 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 look who it is.
Deus Ex Media.